Okay, people, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I haven't made a video in a very long time, very long time. And to be honest, I've been running away from making this video. It's funny, but it's not funny at the same time. You guys know I make a lot of videos on this channel. And even that being said, I want to say I appreciate every single one of you guys who keeps on checking out my videos. This year has been great for me on YouTube. And the reason being is because I've been making content that I genuinely have been liking. There wasn't once where I made a video just for the sake of making a video or for the views, and everything has just like all the videos that I made came very naturally, and yeah, the reception has been great. Even with my last vlog, you guys really showed a lot of love for that video. And that being said, I've heard what you guys would like to see more. But going back to what I was saying, as you guys can tell by the title of today's video, it's a different kind of video. And yeah, as I was saying, I've been running away from making this video. So this video came to mind ending of October, and every once in a while, like videos like these come to mind, right? And initially when it came to mind, I was very excited to make the video because it wasn't, I don't know, thinking about it just brought me joy, right? Talking about what God has been like doing and how present he has been with me throughout this whole year and even the past years. So I was very excited. But when the idea came to mind, me being the person that I am, a lot of ideas came to mind as well. Like whenever I think of a video, a lot of ideas come to mind as far as like creatively. And I even wanted to get myself a microphone specifically for making this video. I wanted to make a montage, and my mind just, goes everywhere. But with that all going on, I ended up just procrastinating because I was thinking about so much to add to the video. But I just had to realize that this video is not for me. Even though it's me sharing my testimony, it's not me, right? It's for anybody out there who's going through any similar like situation, who feels as though like, although they work hard, they strive for something, they set the right goals, they do so much, they exert themselves, they don't get to see the fruit of their labor. And that's something that I have felt I've went through for a long time in my life. So with that being said, I'm just going to give you guys like a quick summary of like what my years have looked like for you guys to kind of comprehend everything that had to do with like breaking through certain boundaries. And yeah, this video is my testimony, and yeah, glory be to God. So yeah, without talking you guys' ears off, let me just go back 3 years. So yeah, as you guys know, the more you grow, the more responsibilities you take upon yourself as a grown adult, especially as a man. And for me, I've been a person who have found it very difficult to ask for help. And I'm starting off with this just to kind of, so I don't have to stop throughout telling the story, so you guys kind of can follow with a sound understanding. So 3 years back, I was working just like any other student here in Belgium. You work, you make money, right? But with me, the thing with me was that I was really trying to do something financially for myself, and I feel like everyone has those goals, right? Especially if you have like plans to kind of venture out into different things and like business or like investing, whether it's investing or whatever. And at the time, I had the people around me who were also as passionate and also financially like very motivated to do and achieve their goals. And so the problem with me was that it became a thing where I would work very hard, but I could not save as much. Obviously, I can point the finger at myself, but just like everyone, when you work, you want to spend some and then you save some, right? And when you save, you're planning to build it up. And being that I was planning on doing stuff, it was very important for me. And so when I realized that things weren't going very well, and at the time, that was when I really started to take my faith very seriously. I wasn't as good as now, but that just goes to show the progress. And yeah, you have to start somewhere. So I think it was after the COVID, everyone was more motivated to get into the faith, right? And I was one of those people, and I took it very seriously. And so yeah, at the time I was working as a deliverer at Takeaway, which is what like Uber Eats, you know. I'm sure you guys know. And so I was working, and for me at the time that was great, that was good, and I got that job through a friend. And so it was perfect for me because I was a college. I am still a student, but at the time I had just started college, and it was perfect because I could plan in my own working hours and days, and it was very flexible. So it was great, right? And since I had like goals outside of school, I would often go work, right? And so I would work. However, it didn't matter how much I worked, always and every time it seemed as though something just like came along and I had to pay for something. I remember, like, for example, I was working, and yeah, we can disregard these things to be just an accident, right? So let me just say I was working, and after my working shift I was going home with the bike, and then my phone that I recently just got broke. Like, it fell and then it broke, it shattered, right? And at the time I was trying to save up to go do, I think it was to go do my driving's license. And so it was frustrating because then I had to go use that money to buy the phone. And as I said, we can always disregard these things, but when it becomes a thing where it's like a cycle, that is where I feel like when you're spiritually, or just when you're inclined with knowing that we do not fight against flesh and blood, those things stand out even more. And so it became very frustrating, but at the time I was just still like operating in my own knowledge, right? Which is just from a logical point where it's like, okay, yeah, accidents happen, so yeah, you just do it. And then another thing would happen, and then another thing would happen, even with the whole driving situation. I wasn't meant to go like pay for the whole driving thing because my dad would sign for me, right? But when it got to my turn, when we got there, we made an appointment, we got to the office, and they ended up telling us that my dad couldn't sign for me just because 2 years prior he had gotten into an accident. The whole thing about the driving mentor is that you need someone who has at least 8 years of experience. I think it was 8 or 5 years of experience with no accidents, right? And so it was like, it's those things where like it makes sense, but it becomes problematic when you notice it's like consistently happening, right? And so when I noticed that, I told my mother about it. And just to give you guys like an idea, my mom for me has been an anchor in the faith throughout my whole life. Like she's always pointed me and my siblings to the faith, right? And since I was getting more serious with my faith and my walk with Christ, I told her, and she was like, yeah, I'll pray for you. And just like the Bible tells us, when one or two gather with the same idea, not only is he present, but he moves, he acts. So yeah, anyways, I told my mom, and that was left behind me, right? So in order for me to continue working at my delivery place, I needed to buy me a new phone, which I got. But so then I had to start over to save for my license, right? And with the thing with me is every time I work with my dad, and that because they always request for me. So like that's, for me, it's always easy. It's like, yeah, I'll work. But I decided for myself that summer I was going to work 1 month with my dad and then 1 month elsewhere with my friend because the pay was better. And I say that for you guys to kind of get the idea that for me at the time, my whole idea was the money, right? So it's like the pay is better. And even though I have like work guaranteed, I was going to go after the pay. And so like I started working at this place with my friend, which was very exhausting. Like this place took more effort because we had to take the public transportation. We had to take the train, and we had like shifts in the afternoon, right? So our shifts started at like 2, but since we're taking the train, I would be up at like at least 10 because I would leave the house 11:30, get to the train station 12, get the train at 12:30. The train is the 30 minutes to the train station to where I was working, which was like at a village. So I'll arrive at like 1, if my calculations are correct, so 1, and then I would walk 30 minutes to get to the place. And after 2 weeks, my friend just quit. So it ended up just being me like having to do that thing for like another month. But yeah, anyways, it was very exhausting. And at the time, like things just kept on happening. And so although I was working, something popped up, and I'm not really going to go into every detail, but it was a similar thing where like things would happen that to the mind and to me, like to the human mind, it's obviously logical. Like it's like action reaction. For example, with my phone, right? And so although I was working, it wasn't like I was struggling financially, but I was just not able to cross or like achieve the goals that I was setting. And so for me, after I had told my mom about everything, I was kind of comforted and in knowing that, God is a provider and that he was going to lead my steps. So for me, it was just about working, where it's like, okay, as the Bible tells us, a hand that does not work does not eat. So like you have to plant the seeds and allow God to water them, right? My camera is about to die, so I'm going to change batteries and then I'm going to continue. Wait. All right. So, where was I? All right. So yeah, at the time I was just, working, right? Sometimes you just need to just keep going, even though you feel as though things are tough. And for me, after work, I'll come back home. So I'll get on the bus. I'll get my bus at like 10:30. It was like almost an hour drive to the city. So 11:30, I'd be in the city and then I would walk for another 15 minutes to get home. Because public transportation after 12 they stop working. So I had to walk like 15 minutes, which was like not as stressful, especially after work. After work, you get this like energy out of nowhere. And doing all of that made me want to get my license and my car like even more, right? And at the time when I was working at this company or factory, it was like a plastic factory. It wasn't even that good of a company to work for. It just paid. I don't know why I had to say that. It's just frustrations coming up right now. But yeah, anyways, I did that and something happened again. And this time it was like a familial thing, right? And so I'm not going to go into details, but like it's something you can't ignore, especially knowing that you have the money, right? But for me, I was saving to do something. And as I've said already, with me, I'm not the type of person to ask. Anyways, that happened. Another, money gone out again. And so although I had prayed and I felt like after I talked to my mom about it and I prayed, the motivation and like the confidence that I gained was very strong. After a while, going through a whole month, when you don't go back like to God or like go back and like stay in his presence and you're not consistently which is why it's very important that we stay in our word, bro. It's very important that we stay in our word and we read, because it helps us just remember and remind ourselves of the graciousness and the abundance of God. And it's just very necessary. And at the time, I wasn't doing that very well, right? But nonetheless, I had finished working at this place. So yeah, finally, at the end of everything, I was able to go do my driving classes. And I had some money left, but then I had to save up to get my car as well, right? And I had enough money to get a car, but if I were to get a car, my funds will be way lower and it would be like I hadn't worked. So like it wasn't reasonable. It wasn't, logical for me to get a car. But yeah, as I've said, one thing that stuck out to me was that I had to be patient with certain things, right? And so although I saw my peers and friends like working as much as me and being able to use their money for what exactly they intended to use it for, I just had to accept that, everyone is different. So what I'm trying to say is that in the end, you have to use what you have, right? You have to make use of what you have. So I accepted it. But this is where things got hectic for me. Because as I've said already, I'm not the person to ask for help. And so it was very difficult for me, but I gathered the courage to finally ask for help. And I was asking, I asked a very close person to me. I asked them to support and that I would give it back. But unknowingly, they also had their own stuff to deal with, right? And so they ended up declining. And if I tell you, bro, at the time, that was the most hardest pill I had to swallow, bro. Because put this into perspective, right? You're already frustrated about everything. You've prayed about it, but you feel as though although you've prayed about it and that you're leaving things in God's hand, like you're not really seeing what you want to see. And things work keep on working and pushing you back, right? The whole time, one thing that was in my mind the whole time was, bro, you can't ask anybody for help because people have their own problems, this and that. But at the back of my mind, I was like, you never know, so ask. So I asked and they declined. So it hit hard for me. And I remember ending the call. And when I ended the call, I'm in my room alone, but I got up for some reason and went and stood in the kitchen, bro. And I was standing there, sorrowful, bro. I was sad. I'm telling you, I've never been so sad in my life, bro. I have to think. Yeah, I've never been so sad in my life. And I started talking out loud. I was like, why me? Why do I have to go through all of this? It's not like I'm not working. I'm working. I'm putting my best foot forward. I'm not just sitting at home being lazy. But why is it that even when I have prayed like things, and at the time I wasn't registering like I was asking it to God, but it came from such a real place, right? It was very like real. And for some reason, out of nowhere, I felt in my heart, but I was with you. But I was with you. But I was with you. And all I had was, but I was with you. And it hit so deep because remember I said, for me, one thing that has been very difficult is to ask for help. So most of the time it's like I had to do stuff on my own. And so even those words where it's like, but I was with you, were comforting and they were reassuring. And tears started I just bursted out in tears. Like, I've never cried as much. I've never, bro. I'm laughing now, but bro, I was in tears. I was like a child, bro. And when I heard that in my spirit, when I felt that, like memories of all that I had gone through, like flashed in my head, right? And so all my frustrations, when I heard, but I was with you, it flashed in my head. But I was with you, it flashed in my head. And even though I'm telling this story, I feel like I'm not doing it justice because I can't really, like, I haven't, like, it's not everything that I've been able to, add to the story. But this video would be too long if I were to do so, right? But bro, after that, all that I needed to hear was, but I was with you. And when I heard, but I was with you. When I heard that, bro, after I was done crying and being a child, I came back. It was like I came back a different person, bro. You could not tell me anything, bro. I'm telling you could not tell me anything. And this is where this is where things start to change. You know what I'm saying? This is where things start to change. And bro, God is so gracious, right? And so I got a job, right? I got a job through recommendation. And when I went for the application meeting or whatever, when I went to talk with them, they hired me on the spot. They were like, you can start next week. And I was like, no, I'm going to be doing my exam. Can I start a week after? No, I wasn't doing my exam, but I just prefer to have like a week where I can, I was like, yeah, can I start a week, the week after? They were like, yeah, fine. And bro, I'm telling you, ever since, things were Gucci, bro. Like, and even with me getting that job, it taught me so much, right? And I just want to say, like, when, like John chapter 1, if I'm correct, John chapter 1:17 says, like, every good and perfect gift comes from above. Like, when you get something from God, it just makes sense. Like, I didn't have to strain myself. I just had to be there, work, and get my money. But that's when I got my license. But I didn't have a car because I had to save to get a car because I got declined when I asked for help, right? So I had to save. So I remember at the time I would wake up. I did have to start early and I had to travel as well to get to the job. But once I got there, like the day went by so fast and everything just like it was relaxed. It was calm. I knew I just had to go show up and I'd be fine. And the reason why I'm saying that is me getting that job allowed me to kind of become more structured with everything, right? So with the job, they paid monthly. So that being said, I had to be very specific with what I did and with budgeting and everything. And that's why I say, like, every good and perfect gift comes from above, coming from the Heavenly Father who does not change, like shifting lights or shifting shadows, right? Which is John 1:17. This job was perfect for me. So yeah, me working at that job, like, things were good for me, right? And with that job, I had to travel as well. So I had to take the train. And I remember in that season, bro, I was so like, that's when I really got close to God. Like, bro, after what I had experienced, first of all, I was reassured. I knew I was good. Like, even when things went bad, bro, like, he was basically with us, as his word says in Psalm, like, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for the Lord is with me. He sends his angels to comfort me. I don't know if I'm misquoting, but read your word. Read your word. I don't know if I'm misquoting, but yea, though we walk through the valley is the low part, right? We can't always be on the mountains. You have to go through the valleys to get to the mountains. And yea, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that sounds extremely scary, right? You're walking through the valley of the shadows of death. Fear no evil. You know why we fear no evil? Due to the authority of Christ. He has granted us authority to trample over snakes and principalities. So you fear no evil, knowing that you have the biggest, right, backing you, because what is in us is bigger than what's in the world. Knowing that what is in us is bigger than what's in the world, we shouldn't fear no evil. But that does not mean you are not allowed to be human. You're going to feel emotions, right? And so fear not, but it's fine to cry unto him, to be frustrated, to not understand what you're going through at the time, but even then having faith in him, right? And so at the time I was really I started reading the New Testament, Matthew, and every time I was going to work, I was listening to this one worship session. And bro, I'm telling you, bro, I'm going to leave it in the description down below because, bro, I don't know. It became like a routine. Every time I was going to work, it's a 30-minute worship session. I would listen to it because I was taking the train and it was like a 30-minute ride and then go to work, right? So anyways, me getting to that work was good. But then this summer, I knew to myself that I wanted to work elsewhere, right? The work that I got was so good where they allowed me to work anytime during the vacations. It was a great place to work at. But I knew me studying, I wanted to do something that had to do with my course, which is business, right, internationally and everything. So I was looking forward to working in a corporate environment and everything. And I didn't know, I knew that I was good. I knew that I was going to get it, but I didn't know how, or I didn't know when, right? And I wasn't bothered by it, right? So anyways, the people at my workplace asked me how long I would like to work there. And I was like, I wanted to work for a month in the summer. And I remember I was working and they came to me, the people at my workplace came to me and they were like, we have bad news. And they told me, sorry, but we are not going to be continuing your contract. And bro, I was so saddened. I didn't know what to think, but I just had faith that God would provide once more. And so, yeah, I just knew I had to work there for another month. And at this time, I got my car, right? So I had my car and I was driving there. So things were much more easier. And I'm like, bro, now that I have my car, you guys don't want me to work here anymore. Like, come on, are you serious, bro? Because, like, after I got my car, getting to that workplace was so easy. And working there was such a breeze. Like, the people there were amazing. But I'm telling you, it was great. Like, it was a great working place. So I was sad, bro. But I had to remind myself that God is with me, right? And I'm telling you, God is with you. So yeah, anyways, I was working there and then and then I got a job recommendation again, right? For a job. At a company, and they were looking for someone very urgently, and it happened to be me because I got recommended through someone very close to me. For that, I thank you. So I got to the job place, and once more, they just hired me on the spot, and they were like, you can start next week. And I was like, no. At the time, they even wanted me to leave the place that I was going to be working for the month. They were like, we want you to start in July. I was like, no, I have a place already. So we ended up negotiating. I got the opportunity, and I asked my working place at the time whether I could stop earlier. And yeah, ever since I've been working at this office. It's very flexible as well. It's much closer to where I'm working. Everything has just worked out, bro. And I'm telling you, like, I'm not killing myself to get what I want, right? The Bible tells us to seek first the kingdom of God, right? When we are so focused on achieving our goals, sometimes we forget that God has a path for our lives. And when we put all our focus on those things, we end up seeking the world. We end up chasing after the world, the money and everything. And although we label ourselves Christians, our focus is on achieving our goals. We do not leave everything to Him. And what I've learned throughout this whole process is to just, bro, I'm telling you, I can literally be like fired at my working place and I'll be fine. You know why? Because I have God. And that's what Matthew tells us. Seek first the kingdom of God and everything will be added onto you. If you're watching this video, I hope this message reaches you, and no matter what you're going through, this does not only apply for financial stuff. He is with you. He is with you. His words do not lie, or does not lie. His words does not lie, because He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. I feel like I could have went more scripturally with this video, but I feel like I've said what I had to say. And so, yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna bring this video to an end. I thank you guys once more for checking out this channel, and I'm very excited to what's to come next year. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you took anything away from this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and check out some of my previous content. And yeah, supporting the channel helps a lot. It helps more than you think, so I appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you guys when I see you guys.